Hey everybody. Sorry it's been a few weeks. Just kind of been very busy and it's been kind of a bit of a roller coaster. I actually had a really great weekend followed by a really horrible couple of days. Well, really, really horrible couple nights, honestly, followed by not so pretty. Anyway, it's been pretty up and down here. But I did want to make the Theory Thursday video that I talked about a couple weeks ago. So yeah, first, let's do with me. I don't know, things are going fine. Like I said, kind of roller coaster. I'm currently in my son's bedroom, and he has used some lovely forever stamps to decorate his dresser. So that's great. You know, I love 50 cents a piece stickers. Anyway, also ignore the acne. 5 months pregnant, and this baby is giving me lots of acne, and it's really annoying. Like, I'm not a teenager anymore. I know I kind of look like one, but I'm not actually a teenager. So, you'll just have to ignore that too, because that's all. Nothing to be done about it. So, anyway, I want to talk about diagnoses, just with the possibility I had earlier, possibly, maybe potentially going to a neurologist had me kind of thinking about diagnoses and their relevance. That's a new tick. The z thing. Yeah, that's a new thing. I mean, it's not my favorite, but it could be worse. It could be a swear word. So, overall, I'll take it. Whatever. So anyway, I wanted to talk about diagnoses and my personal theory on how things will potentially develop in the future as we can, well, I say we, I mean like people who are actually researching this. As we continue to discover more about Tourette syndrome and related conditions. Bananas, hello. Turpentine. Just kind of my personal thoughts on how increased knowledge will maybe change the labeling landscape and how we perceive the different conditions. So, first of all, what's in a name? The name Tourette syndrome, that's only been around for roughly 150 years. I mean, it's pretty new to the scene, and the amount of time that anyone has had any remote idea of what it actually is like a fraction of that 150 years. I mean, we have a literary reference from hundreds of years ago that potentially references someone with Tourette syndrome, and he was accused of being demonically possessed, and that was kind of, I feel like, the prevailing theory for several hundred years. And we finally had a name actually put to it, so it was recognized as a condition and not a possession. Bananas, 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 bananas. Hello. But the early definitions, it was considered, especially in the first case that Tourette studied, it was considered to be a psychological issue, and especially when it was diagnosed in women, it was considered to be a form of hysteria. The prevailing theory for a while was that it was, due to the repression of sexual desires, and that was what was causing it. And basically, every tic that you had somehow signified some repressed sexual desire. So, and that was actually, I mean, that was even in the like the 60s, they were still coming up with that kind of thing. So there was that idea, and then there was the idea that, well, it's not because of sexual desires, but it's because your parents screwed you up. So there was that kind of tack at the psychological angle, and then you started to see the idea that maybe, possibly, potentially, this could theoretically be actually an organic disease, and you had the theory of heck yes, of it being related to post-disease, like post-infectious disease, like frequently strep throat or scarlet fever. There were a lot of doctors who were linking it to both of those infections, or other infections, encephalitis of the brain. So that began to be, the idea that it could possibly be organic started to come into play. And then, like, really recently, we had the addition of new information about the basal ganglia and its role in everything. So we finally made it around to, maybe it's not all in your head. I mean, that's so recent. It's so recent, you guys. Bananas. But along with that, there's been the recognition that there are all these comorbids with it. ADHD, OCD, ODD, SPD. So now you've got, the pure TS, where, it's just Tourette syndrome, and then you've got the Tourette plus, where, you might have ADHD and SPD, or you might have Tourette syndrome and OCD, or whatever. So a lot of these accompanying diagnoses that someone with Tourette syndrome could be likely to get. So, my theory. How will that change? And this is just my random idling brain thoughts. This is not scientific peer-reviewed opinion. Zit, 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 zit. There we go. But, so, my thoughts on that. How will that change? I really think that with the, sorry, I'm just having a really hard time putting my thoughts together today. It's so hard. Did I mention that I only got like 2 hours of sleep last night? It's not been a great couple of days. So, I think that with the increased knowledge we have about the different conditions and how they are kind of interrelated, and as we continue to gain more knowledge about the biological, neurological roles and the brain's role in the different conditions, I think the labeling landscape is going to start to look different. Instead of you have, all these different labels, you have ADHD and OCD and Tourette syndrome and SPD. I think it's going to be more aspects of whatever the underlying brain issue is. So as scientists continue to learn more about the brain and how it functions, I think what we're going to see is that these comorbids are actually just different aspects of issues in the brain. So that's just kind of my thought process on that. Yeah, what do you guys think? Do I think that the name Tourette syndrome is going to stick around? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Like, it's kind of fairly well established at this point. I mean, you've got the Tourette Syndrome Association now. So I feel like probably, but instead of maybe, I feel like it could be that instead of it being considered, this own separate entity, it's going to be more, this is an aspect of your brain manifesting, this because of how it functions. So that's just my rambling thoughts on the subject. Yeah, that's it. Tell me what you think. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. I am gonna do a book review. I just finished a book called A Cursing Brain by Howard I. Kushner, and it was, well, the book review comes later. I won't tell you what I thought of it, but I am gonna talk about that book because I did just finish it after several months of trying to get it finished and just having life get in the way. Bananas. Hello. So I guess that's about it. Things are going decently here. Like I said, good days and bad days. Today has been kind of a rough day. Yesterday and today not been quite so great. But we had an ultrasound of our baby last week and everything looks good there. We're over halfway done with his pregnancy already, which is crazy. And like we just found out 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? Yeah, things are going decently there, as well as can be expected, I think. And yeah, if all of this would just stop its nonsense, then we'd be great. But I think that's everything. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.